Humans aren't born out of laying around on their asses. We've been born out of conquering a world. We're the dominant species. We built all this. We're powerful, and we're beautiful, and we're ready to build the next level of civilization in God's plan. But you must stop bowing to those who want to make you a victim. You must become the victor. If you love God and you want to build a pro-human future, then you are an enemy of the New World Order and Satanism. They want us shut down because we have the spirit. I'm jacked into the source. I know the secret, and I want to see you empowered. But you have to believe in yourself first. This is the truth, and everyone knows it.
So, ladies and gentlemen, the numbers for Dragon Age the Veilguard are absolutely abysmal, and we're going to look at them. You don't have to take my word for it. We're going to go through it line by line. So, first of all, and this isn't a barometer of success necessarily, but it is something to note and look at. As I speak today, it is, it's kind of early in the morning on Saturday. And so you would think that, okay, a game just released, a Dragon Age game just released. What number do you think would be on, Twitch? For example, Tears of the Kingdom. When it released, it had like 300,000 concurrent viewers minimum. There were way more than that, but it was like 300,000 some plus on like the lulls, the low end. What do you think Dragon Age the Veilguard is putting out in terms of viewership on a Saturday morning? Well, we look no further than Twitch. 293,000 for just chatting. 71,000 for Black Ops 6, 2.1 million for League of Legends, 183,000 for Fortnite, 60,000 for Valorant, 37.4 thousand for World of Warcraft. Oh, down here is Dragon Age the Veilguard at 43.6 thousand live concurrent viewers on a Saturday. Understand, this would be the prime peak opportunity to play this game. You would imagine that this number would be 10 times this. But I think it goes to show you that there isn't an overwhelming interest to watch people play this game. 43,000 is a lot of people, but at the end of the day, this is a brand new Dragon Age game, and that used to mean something. However, if we take a look at the Steam charts, and I'm going to refresh it so that you don't think that I held it back or, am sitting on some kind of other number, that just updated. So here we have 68,051 people playing right now. 24-hour peak, 77,465 people. Ladies and gentlemen, that is absolutely catastrophic. That is abysmal numbers. Now, I know that people are going to say, well, but that's not the whole thing. What about PlayStation 5? What about the other platforms? Sure, there will be more people inevitably. However, this is a brand new game from BioWare, Dragon Age. The number, again, should be 10 times this. And what it seems like is that people are coping with this, and what I'm amazed by, in a way, is that when you have a company like BioWare that is just like this legendary company, and you have them decline as much as they have, people they come up with these convoluted hoops, but at the end of the day, BioWare used to be able to push everyone aside, everyone out of the way, and stand in the middle of the room and say, we're the best to do this. And everyone else, no matter what they were doing, would stop and pay attention to them. And I think that it's important to identify the fact that they just can't anymore. They can't hack it. They can't do it. And by comparison, Dragon Age the Veilguard has more players, to be sure, but I want you to take a look. I want you to take a look at Elden Ring, okay? I understand it's not a 1-for-1, but 42,000 people are playing that game right now as opposed to 61,000 for Dragon Age the Veilguard. And Dragon Age the Veilguard is a brand new game. Look at the all-time peak 2.7 years ago. Look at the all-time peak. That's 953,000. Do you think that Dragon Age the Veilguard is going to get anywhere near that? No. And my reason for showing that is not to say, well, let's compare Elden Ring to Dragon Age. No, it's not even about that. What it's there to show is that the gaming community has spoken. They don't want identity politics. They don't want woke propaganda in their content. They don't want dialogue written by a bunch of blue hairs. And I went through the dialogue in the last video. When you hire somebody like, what the hell was their name? Patrick Weeks is one of the main writers, but there was another person. If I can pull this up. Oh yeah, Laura Kate Dale. Who, if you want to know who they are, they're the person who wrote that article for Persona about how the lyrics were ableist. This person here, a trans activist and just an otherwise, despicable, disgusting person. Yeah, so this freak was hired on to work for Dragon Age the Veilguard, which is never a smart thing to do. You never want people like this anywhere near your project. And as it turns out, you also don't want people like this, like Patrick Weeks, anywhere near your project. The fact is, tax billionaires into millions. So this guy's a communist freak. And it's so stunning to me. Just looking at the numbers. And when you start to see that this game is not going to even break 100,000 players on its opening weekend. Understand, it's opening weekend. That's the time where everyone has a little bit of free time to play. This is where the numbers for Steam or Twitch and all those places would be astronomically high. And it's just not. And I think that we know why. We've seen people play, even people like Moist Critical are underwhelmed by the combat, are underwhelmed to say the least by the dialogue. And when you have scenes like the one that I'm going to play again, I played it in my last video, I'm going to play it again. But when you have scenes like this in your game, you can't hope to succeed. You cannot come back from a deficit like this.
Here, vegetables.
Thank you.
So, I'm non-binary.
What does that mean?
It means I don't feel like a man or a woman.
If you are neither a man nor a woman, then what are you?
Non-binary. I just said.
And you notice that, like, the indignation, like, yeah, I just said something that makes no sense and is nonsensical and is completely antithetical to reality and logic. And this character is like, okay, well, what does that mean? Like, it means I'm non-binary. It's like, listen, freak, you are trying to distort language and change things to suit yourself. It makes no goddamn sense. There's no such thing as non-binary. I'm not a man or a woman. Yes, you are. You are one of the two. You have no choice. You are one of the two of those. Is that clear enough? It's like, these freaks weren't so desperate to feel like they're special, But injecting that shit into a game where they're expecting you to pay $60 is always going to be a recipe for disaster. And by the way, there are many, 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 many different conflicting reports about how much this game costs to make. But even the more conservative estimates, it costs too much to make. It cost too much to make. And the fact that this abomination took 10 years is just, I cannot believe that people allowed this to continue on as it did. It is shocking to me that they weren't able to create a competent and coherent game in a reasonable amount of time with a reasonable budget, and then the end result has shit like this.
And I'm going to use they instead of she from now on.
This is because I have criticized your dress or your manners.
It isn't!
Under the Q, the term for one whose gender does not match the one given to them at birth was a cunithlock. Perhaps you are like that.
Why do you have to keep picking at it? Why can't you just be happy for me?
Evatosh.
Why can't you be happy for me that I'm a deranged lunatic, a narcissist, an aggressive freak? Why can't you just be happy and accept the nonsense that I'm trying to tell you? Well, because it's nonsense, and I'm under no obligation, no one's under any obligation to affirm your mental illness, your derangement, and your narcissism, and your adherence to this deranged cult. It's really that simple. And you expect me to pay money to play this game? The answer is absolutely not. The answer is absolutely not. And the numbers, if this game were doing like millions of views, if this game were just blowing it out of the park in every other way, maybe you could go and look. Maybe you're taking things too far. Maybe, but no. This game fails in every way, and then on top of that, expects you to pay for the propaganda that these disgusting freaks put into their game. And the answer to that is no. It's not. We're not negotiating here. It's no. If you thought that putting anything about pronouns into the game was a good idea, you should be fired immediately. And it should be a very quick firing, very painless. We grab you under the arms and we throw you out the window. And we'll throw your stuff after you. You're gone. There should be no world where this makes it into the game. This should be like a joke behind the scenes. Can you imagine? Oh God, can you imagine if we added that in there? That'd be so funny. It'd be like Jim, shut the fuck up. Get back to work. We're not adding that dumb shit into the game. We're not adding that cringe freak shit. We actually want to sell product. We actually want a reputation here. It's like, imagine a world where you have some normalcy, where people were mocked and ridiculed and bullied for an idea this bad. Let's return to that world. Let's return to a world where you bully people for ideas this terrible instead of putting it on the consumer. Because the end user, you're expecting them to pay their hard-earned money for this?
Chakra Toebra.
Who I am? Even if I don't feel like I fit, even if I feel wrong?
No, you misunderstood.
Yes. Yeah. And so what the mother character did here is wrong. You see, when these freaks start raising their pitch, you don't need to acquiesce, because that's what they're used to. They're used to you just be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. No. You need to raise your tone to match theirs. Because if they're going to be an unreasonable, aggressive freak, you need to be a reasonable, aggressive individual that points out the reality of the situation and points out how absolutely absurd they are and how wrong they are. Because they are wrong. And if you think this is just some exercise and let's take a look at the numbers again. Should we go back to the numbers? Can we look at the numbers? 24-hour peak. 77,000 players right now. 68. Let's refresh it. 69. Ooh, 69. A couple more people couple thousand more people across the world decided to jump in. It's embarrassing. It is really genuinely embarrassing. And these people are going to pat themselves on the back. Oh, it's a stunning success. It's a miserable, colossal failure, the likes of which we rarely see from a company that was as once beloved as BioWare. And by the way, if you're holding out hope for Mass Effect, I'm sorry, my friend. No. The BioWare that we knew is gone. I don't think they can do what needs to be done to reclaim their reputation, because they would have to do a complete and total overhaul. They'd have to hire all of the LGBT and trans freaks that have infiltrated the company. They'd have to basically fire all the women. They have to do what Elon Musk did. They'd have to basically do what Elon Musk did, and I don't think they have the will to do that. I think ultimately what's going to happen is what happened to Firewalk Studio. I think they're going to go out of business. I think ultimately, eventually, EA is going to be like, yeah, we're shutting down BioWare. We're just shutting it down. And that'll be that. Because they don't really have anything. They don't really have anything to offer, even as a name. See, because the whole reason that BioWare has been able to exist for as long as it did is because of how powerful their name was. Well, their name doesn't have any power anymore. So how long do you think it really will be before they go out of business? I think this may be it. I think that maybe the next Mass Effect game could be from another studio, not BioWare. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, we went over the numbers. We talked about it. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.